And breaking news after the Sri Lankan players, remember, decided to skip the Pakistan tour and not play cricket there. It's an embarrassed Pakistan now blaming India. Imran's minister Fawad Chaudhry claims that it's India that threatened the Sri Lankan players to oust them from the IPL. In fact, he's just put out a tweet speaking about such baseless allegations, but not the first time. Now, what the Pak minister says is that the BCCI threatened to oust Pakistan players from the IPL. This is the reason why you're looking at Sri Lanka that has snubbed Pakistan cricket. Clearly, this is a case of sour grapes for Pakistan not being able to digest the reality that is written large over every step that is taken by any world capital right now. So they get shamed first by Sri Lanka, then they decide to blame India, but it's a script that we have seen playing out vis-a-vis Pakistan almost every time. Play the victim card, blame India for everything. Now, Fawad Chaudhry says that informed sports commentators told me that India threatens Sri Lankan players that they'll be ousted from the IPL if they do not decide to do this. He goes on to say this is a really cheap tactic. Jingoism from sports to space is something we must condemn, really cheap on the part of the Indian sports authorities. Clearly, you would remember he is the same minister who could not digest the feat of the Indian Space Research Organization also post the success of the Chandrayaan-2 mission. Now he decides to blame India for Sri Lankan players, saying they are not willing to participate in the tournament in Pakistan. And our colleague Shuman, I'm told, will just be joining us in a bit to get you more perspective to that. But this is Pakistan not just embarrassed, I think this is also Pakistan stooping to a new low, where you have a Pakistan minister who goes on to allege that India threatened Sri Lanka. This is the reason why Sri Lankan players have decided not to play the game in Pakistan. Sri Lankan players, remember, have cited security concerns very, very clearly, Shuman, as you join us on the broadcast. But what Pakistan says is that they blame India for Sri Lanka cancelling the tour, Shuman. Isn't this a case of sour grapes?
Well, it's absolutely ridiculous, baseless, because the Sri Lankan cricket independently has, we must remember, 4 or 5 years back, in fact, 10 years back, in 2009, there was this incident that happened in Pakistan, and there was involvement of Pakistani terrorists, and there in the stadium there was a gunfire in which 3 Sri Lankan players were injured, and that's precisely the reason why most of the countries, it's not just about Sri Lanka, it's also about other countries not coming to. Which country has come to Pakistan? Number one. Number two is if Sri Lankan board is apprehensive, and it's not about board, it's about players, individual players writing it to Sri Lankan board, and also individually telling them 10 players, as many as 10 players, including Lasith Malinga, the legendary Lasith Malinga, the Angela Matthews. These are the captains and very senior players. When they have taken this decision, it must have some wisdom, and they are based on not only the past incident but also the present circumstances. The current situation in Pakistan is not conducive for any kind of sports happening. Most of the countries have boycotted. It's not just about India. It's not about just Sri Lanka. Many of the countries, Australia, England, no other country, West Indies, there have been series after series cancelled. Now, if they are alleging, is India telling all the countries to boycott? These are very ridiculous and absolutely baseless allegations.
Oh, that's what Pakistan would want to believe. But you know, Shuman, at the end of it, I think this is Pakistan humiliated. This is Pakistan who does not know what to do next. So what it does is quickly cook an alibi, and the easiest alibi is to blame India all the time.
Well, absolutely, yes. And this has been their strategy, because every time they fail to organize something. And in the past, we have seen they have failed to organize not only cricket events, but hockey events. They have failed to organize kabaddi events and many other international events. Australia doesn't have any kind of faith. England doesn't have. Most of the European countries do not come there. And also now the neighboring countries are also do not have any kind of faith. Now, we must understand that Sri Lankan board used to have very good terms with the PCB at one point of time. Now, they do not have any faith. Now, Sri Lankan board has clearly asked the Sri Lankan players that whoever wants to go will go. And most of the players, most of the senior players do not have any faith. Now, 10 of the senior players, if they are not going, I do not think that the series is on. Though Pakistan PCB is continuing to take its stand that the series will go on, but it's not up to them. It's up to the Sri Lankan board to finally decide whether they will give a very, very truncated team or not. But I think even the junior players will not be eager to visit Pakistan, because it involves very, very high risk of another incident. So these are the cricketers whose lives are very precious. They should not be taken any chance. I think the Sri Lankan cricket board will do well to shirk all kinds of speculation and say that yes, Pakistan is not a safe place to go and we will not play there. And PCB should be condemned for such allegations against India that India has been forcing other countries. So this is absolutely baseless and we strongly condemn it.
Oh yes, and as I said, for every of their mistake, it's easy to blame India, but I think the world is looking at the larger plan there, or the larger problem that Pakistan itself is dealing with and emanating from. For the moment, Shravan, thank you so much for adding perspective to that story for us.